This is the news as it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. Thank you for joining us today on Morning Spring here at Western Spring Television, Channel 190, StarTimes DTT, and also on YouTube and Facebook, Western Spring Television and Western Spring Television NG, respectively. Femi Ojo is my name. This is the midweek edition of Morning Spring, looking through pages of different newspapers to get you very informed, adequately and properly informed abreast of the information around you here in Nigeria and maybe just above our borders, beyond our borders as well. And then we get talking on these issues. They are issues that concern you, and so it is your program. It is our program. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi.
Yeah.
I love your white.
Thank you.
Good morning, dear viewer. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Timitokwe Ajijola Oluwaola. Welcoming you super happily, yes, to this installment. It is the midweek installment, and January is flying. It's 14 January today, year 2026.
26. Okay. All right, we look, we started a conversation yesterday that has to do with what happened at your state function that has to do with monarchs here at the Southwest. Most monarchs, grade AA prime kind of monarchs. We'll get into that in the course of the program because it's generating so much ripples. People, giving the opinions on the matter. People are writing, to state their own perception of the issue and all of those things. Of course, we will. These are issues that you will want to discuss. We'll discuss in the program today. We'll have elder, and you know what they say about there won't be elders in the market. And the head of the baby will be wrongly placed, right? But this one is not even a baby wrongly. I mean, a baby's head wrongly placed in the market is about two elders, foremost elders, traditional rulers. So I'm not sure if that proverb suffices. But then when it happens like this, you're not just talking about individuals, not just elders. They are people of influences, people that people look up to, people that some people would die for. Actually, they are that influential. And so that's why it will get tongues wagging when issues like that happen.
Yes. And speaking to that, they are forerunners, they are custodians of culture and tradition. They are the ones who pave the way for us to follow. And that's why it's generating so much traffic. It's generating so much discussions, distractions and all of those. And that's why we speak to these issues. And,
All right. So much to talk about. There is this report that was done by, I think, KPMG, right? One of those famous, consulting, auditing, and all of those. They do so much, people know them. And then they came up with a report that, pulled apart in a kind of way the new tax laws, actually. And, their report kind of exposed some things. And in fact, it's got many people talking that if KPMG could come up with this report, and because of who they are, what they are, their stature, especially when it comes to policy and analysis and consultancy and all of those things. But later, the federal government, got back at them to say, you guys you don't know what you are doing. Actually, when you come up with a report, are you sure? And then we learned, they had a high power delegation that went to Abuja yesterday to go and recount on what they have already said in their report to say, okay, maybe whatever they said was misconstrued by the government. And so they had a meeting with the federal government. Some will say maybe it's more like we are sorry kind of meeting. And many persons are hitting at them to say, two things are involved.
Yeah.
Do you mean you didn't do your due diligence before you come out with this kind of report that based on a topic that has been very controversial? Before you could make a position on this matter as a company, it must be a function of a well-researched work that will have passed through so many tables to vet it before you make it public. Because you are talking about a national policy, and you are trying to say there are issues here, issues here, issues here. And now when the government of the country got back at you to say, you don't know what you are doing, these are the, and they made a position at you, all of a sudden you said whatever you have put up was misconstrued. By who? The government, the people, or somebody is being threatened somewhere?
Now, those are the two things that I was going to say are involved. So you said it was more like an I'm sorry thing. So is it I'm sorry for, you know, like you said, not doing due diligence, or I'm sorry that I was able to uncover things and to say it out, you know, as it is, just like we do right here on Western Spring Television. And but it just brings out some issues with us as a people. The government does not have to respond, you know, on a level that would bring about that would seem to the people as being in a position of a bully or being overpowering, of you know, all of those things. It's the people should be able to talk. Policymakers, in fact, the government should be open to, you know, institutions or private organizations looking through their policies, trying to see how to point out loopholes in the policies. And that's one thing that happened here. And it's so sad that the government of the day does not want an opposition from political parties, opposition from opposing voices. Let me just, you know, say it that way. There might be a thing, and we can all see it from different perspectives. That is allowed. And it does not mean that you're wrong. It does not mean that you're right. People just see things differently. And I think that's what's happening here. But then, if there is a loophole somewhere, because I do not think that everyone would be wrong. There are so many people who have been saying things, and this has nothing to do with politics. People have been saying that this particular policy has flaws, has errors in it, or needs to be, you know, redone, relooked at, you know, and all of those things. But we are going to see, I said it before, I said it, you know, at the implementation on January 1st. And while we've been talking about, you know, this particular tax law in the build-up, I said that in the coming days, let's give it this a few months. In 6 months, we'll begin to see, you know, some of the things that maybe are being covered up by the government, or if people who have been opposing these tax laws are the ones who are wrong. We'll see. It's already in implementation, so we'll see about that.
Well, we'll see. And in defense of their policy, what they said, I mean, their newsletter that kind of, you know, the federal government frowned at, you know, what they said, that's KPMG, that they clarified that his recent newsletter on Nigeria's newly enacted tax law was intended to support understanding and implementation of the reforms, not to criticize government policy. You know, and they stated that it's not to undermine confidence or question the government fiscal direction. And when you see positions taking these, I mean, companies or entities take this position, and you know, who says KPMG can be wrong? They can be wrong. Anybody can be wrong, actually. But the thing is, because it has to do with such a controversial bill and policy, I mean, policy rather. And so if a company comes out with that position and then the federal government frowns at them to, you know, in this way, and they come back to say, no, that's not our intention. We're not here to undermine you and or your policy or to criticize it. It was meant to clarify and, you know, make people understand, you know, the position more. But one would say if you're in government as well, if you see anything that you feel might undermine what you have done, you are at liberty to talk, but don't make it look like you are silencing every voices of dissent.
Exactly.
And nobody, whatever the government has put up, don't talk about it. We hope we won't get to that part. And then, because that would be autocratic, that would be
hope. I think
that would not be making sense.
We hope
that would defeat everything democracy stands.
I wouldn't say we hope we do not get there. I hope that we are not there at this time, because there is nothing wrong with a company criticizing what the government has done. It is your right as a person, as a people. Let's not forget that. And no matter what anybody, and I'm talking about body now, or organization or government is doing, it is your right to look into things critically and then criticize. We should. That is your right as a people.
Yeah,
yes,
criticize. We are necessary.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are ways of engagement. There are things that you can do as a person. There are things you can do as a pressure group. There are things you can do as an association. There are things that companies can do. There are things that they cannot do. There are some things that companies cannot do unilaterally. They rather fall back to the associations to make a position for them. This is not me defending government, but I'm saying, even when everybody has a voice, right? There are some things that that is beyond your bound.
Yeah.
There are things that are beyond your bound. Not really in this case. I'm only saying so that we don't make it to look like there are no laws. What is if it's economy and if it's all of those things, and you're talking about, let's say, economy and financing, and then you're making opinions on agriculture or things that doesn't have to do with you. Now, if it's about CBN policy, if it's about finance policy, and you make your position, people will respect your voice than you just making position all over. But not necessarily on what you are saying this. I'm saying companies should know what they can do and what they can do. That's not just
companies should know that. But
because this is still a nation
would say that it comes more.
Laws.
What you're saying it rubs off more on an image than whether it is in their right to say it or not say it. I could decide to talk on agriculture, even if my company is not about agriculture, because everyone can have a residual knowledge of it. I may have broad knowledge on different things. I think it comes more about you knowing what you're saying and having a very, very clear picture or understanding of what you're saying. So as Nigerians, I think you have a right to speak to some of these things, but make sure that you're speaking within the bounds of law. That is, I think that's what we should clarify, but that you're speaking to things, I think it's still well within your right to do so.
When you are saying two different things here. I'm not talking as a citizen. I'm talking
even as organizations. That's what I'm saying, Femi.
Yeah.
As organizations, as an institution, as whatever you are, whether as individuals, as a body, as associations, you can speak to different aspects or different sectors of the different sectors. But you can speak to issues, but make sure that you're having a clear understanding for your own image. That's it. It's not about whether it is your right or not.
Well, as far as corporate organizations are concerned, I'm not sure it runs that way, actually. But then when it comes to your rights as an individual, as a Nigerian, you can do all of that. But the point here is, the main point why this was brought up is to say that people can always speak up. As a company, either it's KPMG or PwC or Western Spring Television, let everybody speak from what you said earlier, a place of knowledge. Actually, so that the moment anybody comes for whatever you have put up, you can defend. That's important. You can defend and not to recant. No, that is very important. You can say, this is what we mean. These are the researches we have done. This is how we arrived at this point, and not just to fold. You know what they say, fold on the street. I don't want to say to Yoruba, so they now call for you and you are folding. No. Say, this is what we have done. And if you are wrong, admit that you are wrong. If you are true to your convictions, stay by it so that it won't look like you are being pressured into folding, which is really important. Whatever, I'm sure the Gen Zs understand what I mean by folding, actually. All right, we'll take this quick break. When we return, the newspaper segment will be next here on Morning Spring on Western Spring Television right now. with the newspaper segment right now. And the first point of call is the Daily Sun. Daily Sun, sunny very brightly. Daily Sun. US boost Nigeria terrified. US boost Nigeria terrified. Delivers military supplies. US African delegation meets Marwa. Assures NDLEA of enhanced collaboration. Assures NDLEA of enhanced collaboration or support. US boosts Nigeria terror fight. Delivers military supplies. US African delegation meets Marwa. Assures NDLEA of enhanced collaboration support. Right below that, you have the picture of Mr. President with other world leaders at the 2026 Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week in the United Arab Emirates. All right, and federal government budgets 1.3 trillion naira for police formations and commands. Federal government budgets 1.3 trillion naira for police formations and commands. Wages to go to 55.38 billion naira from humanitarian ministries. 462 billion naira budget. Interesting. A ministry like that of humanitarian, has a 462 billion naira budget, and out of the 462, wages will go up to 55 of it. That means more than half of the budget of that ministry will be used on salaries and wages. And we're talking about humanitarian affairs and disaster management or whatever. Governors getting high allocations have no place to hide. Oberewori, that's the governor of Delta State, saying governors are now getting high allocations. They have no place to hide. Right. And Soludo approves, and that's speaking to holding governors accountable for more, not just Mr. President alone, everybody. Now, Soludo approves 16.7 billion naira for infrastructure projects. Soludo approves 16.7 billion naira for infrastructure projects. Others enforcement of road setbacks in dual carriageways. Again, others enforcement, that's the rider to that headline. Others enforcement of road setbacks in dual carriageways. And sad one here, herdsmen kill woman for others in Benue community. Herdsmen kill woman for others in Benue community. Who are these people? Top strip. Epoma riot sponsored from abroad, Edo government. Epoma riot sponsored from abroad, Edo government. Okpebolo visit fire scene, promises to rebuild burnt shops. Okpebolo visits fire scene, promises to rebuild burnt shops. And peace at price. How Katsina trades terror for stability. Peace at price. How Katsina trades terror for stability. The controversial prisoner swarms. You might want to pick up a copy of this paper to see details for yourself. That'll be all from the Daily Sun for today.
All right, let's check out the face of Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning. And the banner headline says, U.S. delivers military supplies to Nigeria. U.S. delivers military supplies to Nigeria. And the riders, 129 terrorists arrested, 55 killed, 309 hostages rescued in Kwara, Kegi. That's according to the police right there. All right, about the nameplate or what church massacre, DSS lists 10 witnesses, tenders more documentary evidences. All right, so well, we've been talking about having evidences of some of the operations of our security agencies. And now on the Owo Church massacre, DSS lists 10 witnesses, tenders more documentary evidences. Besides that, in the world of sports, Afghan semis, I fear Osimhen, Iwobi, Lukman, that's Morocco coach. NFF chairman allays fears over officiating. right there. All right, below that to the body of the paper there, Olabisi Onabanjo's wife, Lucia, dies at 100 years. Tinubu Abiodun pay tributes. Olabisi Onabanjo's wife, Lucia, dies at 100 years. Tinubu Abiodun pay tributes. Olabisi, chief of Olabisi Afolayan Onabanjo, was one of the most consequential political leaders in the history of Ogun State, and he was a central figure of Nigeria's Second Republic. Right, his wife has died at 100 years.
Quite a long life.
Yeah.
100.
Yes. Wow. All right, after protests, Shippers Council orders shipping companies to suspend fee hike. Shippers Council orders shipping companies to suspend fee hike. Besides that, Ekiti court nullifies PDP governorship primary, orders fresh exercise. Federal government begins implementation ahead of agreement signing with ASU. NIWA to acquire barges, vessels with 10.3 billion naira in 2026. And the riders to dredge 100-kilometer waterways with 1.8 billion naira. Concerns as NACS allocates 385 million naira to social projects amid Nigeria's food export challenges. On health, sugary drinks increase risk of heart disease in children. Sugary drinks increase risk of heart disease in children. That's according to experts right there. And it's on page 2 of Nigerian Tribune today. And we can see the picture right there. The United States forces delivering critical military supplies to Nigerian partners in Abuja. Right. Those headlines right there on the face of Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning.
Interesting, especially to see those military deliveries, actually, what they call it, especially on the front page of the paper you took just now. If you can have it again, and it will talk about the support. Yeah, there you go. The support that the US is giving Nigeria, and which has been a subject of controversy, actually, because we've seen, a couple of aerial interventions. Actually, now we are seeing deliveries. We hope whatever these are will be well managed and it won't get into wrong hands. And not in the next 1 month, we'll be seeing US military grade weapons in the wrong hands of the bandits.
Yeah.
And you know what they do? Actually, we hope that won't happen. They will display it. That's what they do. Those guys, they display it to show you that you don't know what you are doing, to show you that they know what they are doing, and to show you that they can always do what they want to do. How they tell a story, positioning like they are in charge. And it will be a thing of a show of shame, because we've seen many Nigerian military supplies in their hands. Some, they take it when they overrun some of these military formations and bases, and all of those things. We hope this will not be a part of that as well, because you don't want to have your enemy really, buoyed up in that particular way and in that particular manner. All right, moving on. Let's look at the next point of action, and that will be the Punch newspaper. Governor's budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Governor's budget 525 billion naira for security as killings spread. Unfortunately, with a rider, security votes jumped 40% since 2023. Borno, Adamawa, Delta record highest budget. Northeast, Southeast lead. Of course, the picture of the president in Abu Dhabi. All right, and top strip 2027 ADC faction eyes Jonathan Saraki Makinde alliance. 2027 ADC faction eyes Jonathan Saraki Makinde alliance. And counter-insurgency, US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. US delivers military supplies to Nigeria. And Nigeria, UAE scrap tariffs on over 13,000 goods. Can you just imagine 13,000 goods? Nigeria, UAE scrap tariffs on over 13,000 goods. You know, these are some of the things that we are following and we are seeing at this time. I hope if that comes into place, it will help businessmen and women.
Well, that's one concern. Another concern is, does the U.S. is placing tariffs on different things with different countries.
Yeah.
Nigeria is looking to other allies and then trying to make consolidations in other regions. But just like you said, we hope that this is ultimately going to be a reprieve to Nigerians and the economy of the nation and not otherwise.
Yeah. And you know the tariff thing, the tariff war that has been on with the US and with everybody, every country. Nigeria. 15%, 35%. As for China, it got bad to the level of 200% at some point. Even Canada got some, the thing is, when it comes like this, nations, definitely you are supposed to fight for whatever suits your nation. And, maybe that's why Donald Trump started with the America for Americans things. Okay, do this. You are going to do business with us this way. Let's make the dictation. Let's make America great again and all of those things. And because he has the capacity, actually, I don't know nation of the world can really be isolated. Only you just running your stuff. But some have tried to do that.
Prioritizing your country. I think you should do that,
But then when it's your own to push some things on my country, is for me to feel if I can trust it, fine. If I have to find a dialogue to say, okay, let's do it this way, that's if we are in a place. There was a tariff that was put on the US, Canada fertilizer by the US. And the Canada had to reroute his thing and the fertilizer. And instead of moving through a particular point, a region of their country, which those things usually go through, they reroute it to another place. So as far as fertilizer is concerned, they could call the bluff and say, no problem. We'll rather make do from this end. And they have been good and they are doing well. That is for a nation who gets this priority right. Not the ones that everybody can just pick on. Even Nigeria has done it before. We did it to Benin Republic during Obasanjo's time, when the period of smuggling of cars and stealing of, stealing of cars under Tafa Balogun. He shut the border between us and Benin Republic. I think less than a month, the president had to sort dialogue and say, we cannot afford that. Whatever you want, Your Excellency, we will do. We will cooperate. That is, I'm sure many Nigerians want Nigeria at that time. We can say, we don't want this,
and it stays.
And the other people will seek dialogue.
But that's it. And I feel that countries should prioritize their countries. Leaders should prioritize their countries. It is left for other countries who have the mettle to push back. Nigeria has done it before, even with this US, stuff. Trump did something and the president pushed back. Everyone was like, wow, so we can actually make a stand like this. That happened. There are some other African countries, with the US visa ban and all of those. They also they also had a pushback against American citizens, but the level with which at which it affects African countries may be different.
That's a pushback as far as visa is concerned.
But I feel that
Mali, Burkina Faso, and the rest of them.
Exactly. And I feel that that's some level of self-respect and dignity, no matter what. No matter how you wish or you feel, rather, that you have this this willpower or this strength. Yes, we know that somehow you may be above us in some ways, but in our little corner, we are also gods, and we have a pushback. I love that, but it was quite interesting and funny though. But I loved it.
Excuse me, and I'm sure nobody would just want to do a pushback before you can
they sat down to think
you want to do.
I'm sure countries don't just do things.
You don't negotiate from a place of weakness, actually. There are some things that other people...
Well, you can, Femi. You can negotiate from a place of weakness.
That will not be a negotiation. You can't.
You can.
How so?
Well, you can.
How so?
You look at get your pros and your cons as well.
Did you hear what I said? From a place of weakness.
Yes, you can be weak in some areas. That's what I'm saying. You cannot have it all. Even the US does not say they have it all.
That's not the point.
No, my point is you can.
Okay.
You can make a negotiation and say, I'm going down. If I'm going to go down, people do. If I'm going to go down, I go down on my terms, not on yours. So you can negotiate from a place of weakness. And I think that Africa, I'm not saying negotiate without, that's what I said, sit down, count your cost. But you can actually negotiate from a place
of weakness.
Yes, you can.
No, nobody does that.
You can.
I don't think so.
I don't agree with them.
No, you don't have to agree.
And many others too.
The point here is when you talk about negotiation, it's about give and take, actually. And so when you are not even bringing anything to the table, you just, okay, I like what you said. You say you go down with your pride.
Country.
Yeah, a country cannot afford that. We are not talking about human relationship here.
So we are talking about countries.
Yeah.
And so you cannot tell me that I am all weak. That's what I'm saying. In this regard, in what we're saying, especially with this case, you can't negotiate from a place of weakness because you cannot be all weak. You will have an advantage. Use that advantage to your advantage.
You think we are talking about... I don't want to say what's...
We're talking about countries.
We are talking about countries here.
Have dignities. Exactly. You can negotiate from a place. But make sure that you're negotiating from the side. You can say that the United States and whatever country, this is a strong, this is a weak. But I'll tell you, you can't be all strong and you can't be all weak. So from your own stand of your weakness, from the underdog perspective, you can negotiate. I'm
sure people who do international relations know what they do. We are not talking about individuals.
All right.
We are talking about countries. And it takes more to do that because as
I'm talking about countries. I'm not talking from the perspective of an individual.
There are situations or positions you will take as a country just because of your pride, and in the next 3 months, your country is in flames. So you should know, they should know better. All right. Wow. So let's just take a break here. And when we come back, we speak to issues, especially what is happening in the country that will really interest you. Don't want to miss any part of this program. Perhaps you don't know, we are live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television NG. Stay with us.